Hi guys, back once again talking about Star Trek Discovery. But in this one I'm going to be talking about one character in particular. And the question is Captain Lorca from the Mirror Universe? Basically, I finished watching Star Trek Discovery this week, and I was chatting with a friend online, and he asked me the question, what do you think about this idea that Lorca could possibly be from the Mirror Universe? Now, initially, I dismissed it. Initially, I was like, he's a wartime captain and he's got a wartime sensibility. He's been through a lot, he's seen a lot, he's done a lot, he's been through the ringer. Perhaps it's just the sort of place that he's been put in. It's what the war has made him. But then I started to think about it more and more, and the more we were conversing, I've got to say, again, initially I dismissed the idea offhand. Basically, I was looking at Lorca as another Captain Garth then, from the TOS episode, Whom Gods Destroy. And that's really what made me think that he wasn't from the Mirror Universe, was the fact that we've seen wartime captains like this before, and they've gone too far. Sometimes they haven't just been cruel to their enemy, but cruel to their own crew. And I was starting to think about Lorca's behaviour then, and it was like, you're not a mile away, and there's plenty of evidence to suggest that he could be from the Mirror Universe. Again, there's his attitude towards his crew. He's very stern, we know that, but he does have a touch of cruelty to him as well. Like when he introduces Michael to the tardigrade and is trying to convince her to sort of get the tardigrade to work with the spore drive, his approach is to beat it into submission and not sort of encourage it to work. His approach is from the other end. So that started me thinking, well, he does have that sort of mentality about him. Plus he's got this weird menagerie, which is something that you don't normally see from Starfleet captains. I mean, Picard in his quarters has a couple of trinkets from his archaeological hobby, but nothing to that sort of extent. But then I started examining what Lorca was doing throughout the story, and the more I think about it, the more I'm convinced he's from the Mirror Universe. So what sort of evidence do we have? Well, first of all, he's a master manipulator. Like, he manipulated Starfleet to get Michael on board the ship. He manipulated Michael to get her to work with the crew. He manipulated her to work with the tardigrade and the spore drive. He manipulated Stamets to work with the spore drive to get the ship to jump. Just to get the damn thing to work initially. So he's a very good manipulator, and his attitude is very underhanded for a Starfleet captain. When you think about Starfleet captains, you sort of tend to think of Kirk or Picard or Janeway or Sisko. Or even Jonathan Archer, if you like. I try not to, but sometimes it happens. But when you think of Starfleet captains and their attitudes and their approaches, and Lorca's approach just seems very brutal. So there's more to it than that. I mean, obviously, like if you look at the way he was with the Admiral, letting her get kidnapped that way, and when it came time to sort of shall we go after her, he was kind of like, yeah, you know what, not so much. No, I'm not too worried about it, and that made a lot of people sort of sit back and go, oh, he might not be wrong, but that's morally ambiguous at best. That's in a very grey area there. Plus also, just after he's finished sleeping with her as well, she sort of gets out of bed and says, you're not the guy I know. There's something different about you. I don't know, I don't recognise this person anymore. which would make sense. If he was from the mirror universe, that would make 100% sense, wouldn't it? So there's that. There's also the fact that from recent episodes as well, they were talking about the Lorca from the mirror universe, and they said that Lorca had disappeared a while ago. So the mirror universe Captain Lorca has gone missing. What's happened to the Discoverse Lorca? I don't know. Maybe he's dead somewhere. I have no idea. Not a clue. But I would suggest that if he is from the mirror universe, then he was always from the mirror universe, and we've never seen the Discoverse Lorca at all. We started to think about, there were times maybe the switch happened when he was on board the Klingon ship, or whatever. But I think Lorca, if this guy is from the mirror universe, then he's probably always been from the mirror universe. I don't think there's been a switch in the series. I don't think we've switched from one to another. So there's that. Also as well, just after the episode where the Discovery makes all the sort of flippy, disappeary things where they're trying to find the Klingon ship, Lorca asks Stamets for one more jump, and obviously the jump was not unnecessary. It was not a necessary jump. He convinces Stamets to do it, and Stamets agrees. Then you see Lorca on the bridge. He sits on his captain's chair. He pops open the panel and starts tippy-tappying away, and he enters his own coordinates. And when it pops up on the screen, it's only on screen for a very short period of time. It says coordinates entered, unknown. How could they be unknown? If he was entering coordinates to jump into the starbase, the computer would know where those coordinates were, right? But Lorca enters them, and there's even this look on his face like, sorted. And of course the ship jumps, and they end up in the mirror universe. But just before he does it as well, he also says, "Let's go home." Now, that could mean any number of things. I'm not going to speculate on, what "let's go home" means, but it could mean let's go to the starbase, or it could mean let's go back to the universe that we're from. So that's kind of interesting. Plus as well, when they arrive in the mirror universe, he's not surprised at the fact that it's the mirror universe. He doesn't even seem surprised when he sees the agony booths either. So there's a couple of things going on there as well. I don't know. There's a lot happening with Lorca that makes me think, because also as well, it was Lorca that introduced the idea of multiverse mapping, because he actually introduces Stamets to it. He shows him, he takes him into his office, ready room, whatever you want to call it, and he shows him that holographic display of the multiverse. He actually puts the idea in Stamets' head. So he's the manipulator, he's got people into these positions, he's got a touch of cruelty about him. You could argue that it's a wartime captain type thing, but I think the seeds are there. I think the seeds are planted along the way for this reveal of Lorca being a mirror universe captain. Now these could be red herrings. They could be that Lorca is just a crap captain. Crap to his crew. But I just don't think so. I think when this comes out now, I think it is going to turn out that there's going to be this twist in the plot, that he's going to turn out that he's been doing this to get his hands on the Empress, that he's going to get his hands on her ship, probably a Constitution class, maybe even the Defiant. I think we're going to see, him wanting to use the Discovery to get back home, to manipulate the crew to get them back home. Because I think this is where the show is going. I think this is the show where Michael is going to work with Saru to get the crew, to get the ship, to get it back to the Discoverse as opposed to the Mirrorverse. And I think that's where this is leading. Anyway, I'm going to leave that there because there's a lot to absorb. What do you think about this? This theory? Do you think Lorca is actually from the mirror universe, or is it just all just a complete red herring? Let me know in the comments down below what you think, and I'll see you later, guys.